Welcome back to DocTrack Administrator Training. With this lesson, we begin our look at how to use DocTrack with SharePoint. For most of this course, we've concentrated on file system virtual rules and archiving. This means that all of the files created or attached to Sightline records would be on the company network's file system. Normally, these files are organized in a way intended to make them relatively easy to manage and retrieve. As we saw in an earlier lesson, this collection of files is referred to as your DocTrack archive. The organization of this collection can often be represented by a flowchart, such as the one you're seeing now. With this section, we look at the database type. More specifically, we're going to focus on how it can be used to integrate DocTrack with SharePoint. SharePoint is a popular web-based platform for handling intranet content and document management. With SharePoint, you can design precisely targeted, user-friendly environments, perfectly suited for any particular goal or purpose. For any SharePoint site, you can also create and maintain document libraries. A SharePoint library is a list containing document files that are stored in a particular table of the SharePoint database. Using DocTrack, you can attach documents from your SharePoint document libraries to records in Sightline. Also, when DocTrack creates files from Sightline, you can use database type rules to archive them in your SharePoint libraries. These files include PDFs of Sightline reports generated through DocTrack, as well as files that are created through document saving rules, either by DocTrack scanning or by dragging and dropping. Using SharePoint with DocTrack can provide these advantages. With SharePoint, any site user can be authorized to add documents to a library. That means you can attach documents contributed by people both inside and outside the company, without having to give them network access. Likewise, Sightline documents created through DocTrack can be shared with those same people, and in the same way. SharePoint allows you to manage your document libraries by taking advantage of tags. Using these columns, you can classify the documents in lots of different ways. DocTrack then uses the information in the columns to locate or archive the files. With SharePoint, users probably won't have to be trained on how to save names in accordance with virtual rules. In most cases, if they enter the information in the column correctly, the virtual rule will pick it up. File system archiving locks users into a static archiving structure that must be navigated to find a particular file. On the other hand, with SharePoint, archiving can be done with a simpler, flat structure. Then, individual sites can be set up to display a filtered view of document libraries, allowing for much more flexibility in file retrieval and organization. Also, with SharePoint, you don't need to give users access to the company computer network. Instead, users with the proper permissions can get to the SharePoint library through any browser on any computer. Filtered document collections can be used as tools to support the goals of each individual SharePoint site, whether it's devoted to a department, a team, vendors, customers, meetings, or any other purpose. In SharePoint, you can create interactive sites geared towards different teams or users. For example, you could create a SharePoint portal that includes homepages for each department. These could contain uniquely filtered views of document libraries, and all these documents can be attached to records in Sightline. You can also configure it so that when users add documents through these SharePoint portals, they'll be attached to Sightline records automatically. In addition, you can set up subpages that feature advanced filters. For example, on this customer service homepage, there are subpages for each customer. You may choose to give each customer access to their specific page right through SharePoint. Then they can upload or download documents here without direct access to the company's file system. And DocTrack will continue to maintain all the appropriate attachments to Sightline records. It's good to understand all the possibilities of using DocTrack in SharePoint. However, we're going to keep it simple. At its most basic level, SharePoint allows you to store files in an archive of folders and subfolders. For the lessons that follow, our goal will be to maintain an organized archive in SharePoint, much in the same way as we do in the file system. That's a quick introduction to using DocTrack with SharePoint. On our next lesson, we'll start this journey by manually attaching a file in our SharePoint database to a record in Sightline. See you then.